I have a little channel, a YouTube channel called Wise Women Weekdays, and it chats with people, and any information I get or any chats I have that I feel relevant, I put it on that channel, YouTube channel. So that's where these will go. Raw, as I say, they're not edited, they just go up because it's just about getting information out there. So that's what we do. So for the rest of before we break for lunch, if you wanted sandwiches and you haven't put it on the list, then just go to the reception and tell them. And we're going to the McGregor room. They put the rounds of sandwiches up there for us. So we're going to hand over to Pete in a minute to finish his subject matter. And then after lunch, at 1 o'clock, we'll break for lunch. And then after lunch, we're going to move over to Chris, Coverdale, and he'll talk about the tax situation. And that'll be about, is he here? Yeah, so that'll be about an hour or so, Chris. And you've got handouts and stuff like that. I've also been asked to ask you guys to turn your phones off, please. Not so much because of their listening, because they're going to listen, no matter what, but it's for the interference. When the phone goes off, it can be disruptive. We've got 2 mics. We've got 4 mics now, 2 Pete's and 4 mics. So if you have got a question, there's a mic that will hopefully float around, just so other people can hear. What else? Now, and the other thing I was asked about, or I get a lot of people come up and suggest a lot of things, which is great. I can only do so much, we can only all do so much, and we're doing as much as we possibly can. For me, it's about networking. That's why I set the Freedom Network up 4 years ago. Has anybody heard of the Freedom Network?
Yes.
Okay, so it was set up so you lot can find each other, okay, and do what you need to do. We all know what we need to do. So other networks are coming from this, such as the Sovereign Network, so you can be more specific about whatever it is, whether you're farming or education or the law, whatever it is. We know what we need to do. But it's a numbers game. And a gentleman came up to me just in the break saying, why can't we do a different format, sit around a table and create, solve the situation. There'll be a bloody big table to get you lot around it, for one, so that wouldn't work. But also, I can't do everything, Pete can't do everything, David can't do everything. You need to get involved. You need to get involved, and we are putting out these formats, these forums for you to do so. Sign up to David Adelman, sign up to Sovereign Pete Wilson, Chris Coverdale. Get more details and get more people. Bring a friend. Phone a friend, ask the audience. Get more people on board, and then we take action. And somebody has also said, the same gentleman, why don't we sort of get on a bus and go and take him out, the bloke with ears and sausage fingers. Great, yes sir.
Just a yes or no answer. I don't want to go on a big long rant, but have the concept of DAOs been considered?
DAOs?
Decentralized organizations on the blockchain. They work. There are
blockchain. Okay, so we're going to address that after lunch. But yes,
Portal.
Yeah. There are people sorting that out. Not everybody likes blockchain, but hey ho. So right, that's me. If you do want to ask me anything, do find me and ask me, and just come and say hello to me.
2 suggested subjects: marriage and liens. So, would you like to know about liens? Yeah. I'll do the marriage one next.
All right, now over to marriage. You're not proposing, are you, Pete?
I'm the most sovereign man on the planet. Do you think I'm going to get married? So, okay, marriage. This part is quite important. We've got some feedback. There we go. Right, okay. So we understand state marriage now. I've touched on it briefly just to give you an underlining of what's going on and the dangers of it, and the fact that the man has no rights. The man has basically given away his right to protect his wife and child. And say, for example, you take your child out of school, you get a fine. And that's the reason, because you gave it away. So the way it works about titles, I'll just finish off on the title bit. You've got to understand titles and this hierarchical system they set up. Every time you register something, you lower your title. You become lower and lower and lower and lower. So what you do is you register your baby, it becomes a child, that's the legal title. Okay, so the state now has first title of the child. You have second, which means you have to do as you're told when the government says so. Then what do is you register with your doctor, don't you? So you register your child with a doctor. Well, the doctor now gets second title, you get third. So now the doctor can tell you what to do with the child. Then what do? You register with a school, don't you? So the headmaster gets third title. You've now got fourth title. So now you've got the state, the doctor, and the headmaster, and they have got a higher authority over your child than you. You've got fourth title. And that means if you take that child out of school, by the way, out of term time, you violated the terms of the contract. That's why it's called term time. So, and you will pay a fine because you violated the terms of the contract, and the headmaster's got a higher authority than you because he's got third title. That is why. This is why I get messages all the time from women saying, oh, took a child on holiday, I'm getting a fine, how do I get out of it? And I go, well, you've accepted the fine by just saying, oh, I'm being fined. Okay? You've lost already. You should be so angry and say, how dare you fine me? Okay? And then you go after the headmaster by name and you say, under what authority are you actually fining me? And that's when they start backing down. They can't turn around and say, oh, well, we've got third title of your child. You go, you what? Because then the scam is exposed. Right? So that's why you've got to challenge them all the time. So we understand state marriage and how dangerous it is. You want nothing to do with it. So you go, okay, what happens if a man and a woman actually want to get married? Which is fine. Well, you would do an affidavit of marriage. Okay? So the affidavit, hopefully you're all learning what the affidavit is. And that's the most powerful document on the planet. The reason why is because it's yours. You wrote it, you created it, you are the author of it. And it short circuits everything, okay? So you'll do an affidavit of marriage. So the man and the woman, they will put their vows, whatever it is they want, whatever union they want to set up is put in that affidavit. It will be witnessed, and they basically self-marry. Because there's only two people in that agreement, that's the woman and the man, so it's only they can actually do the marrying, all right? Yes, the father can give the bride away. We understand that now, don't we? Because what he's actually doing is he's saying, I'm giving his daughter away, she's leaving my house and joining another house. Okay? That's why the father gives away the bride. Okay? We understand why that is. By the way, do we all know why the bride is supposed to wear a white dress? She's supposed to be a virgin on a marriage night. Most women say it should be a shade of grey, but okay. But, you know, so you know, so there's a lot of women on their third or fourth marriage and they're still wearing a white dress. And I'm going, come on, someone's lying. So, anyway, that's why she wears white, okay? So, affidavit of marriage. Now, if you are religious, you can get your religion involved if you wish, but there is dangers to that. Because the church will take over and it will be a church marriage and they will take control of the situation, and it will be the vicar or whoever, the religious figure, and he will be doing the pronouncing. He says, I now pronounce you man and wife. Where do you think the authorities come from? It's him, isn't it? He's doing the pronouncing. We all heard about a captain of a ship can marry people. Yeah, because he has a higher authority than the crewman. He's marrying two crewmen in maritime law, which means he's doing the marrying, not the man and wife. Okay, so affidavit of marriage is what you do. Now, it's a little bit more complicated than that, because a man is supposed to have his estate in order before he can actually do the marriage. So, in other words, he's supposed to have his house, which will be his flag, his coat of arms, his seal, all this, the seal of his court, all of this is created, his assets, all that, okay? And then that will be his house on the affidavit, and then the wife is then marrying into that estate, that house, if that all makes sense, right? So you've got to get all that in place. Then when you've done the marriage, normally what you would do, once you've done the affidavit of marriage, and the whole family, the two families normally witness it, it will be put into the family Bible. Okay, so normally both families would have their own family Bible, and then that marriage would be recorded in the family Bibles of each family, and then it's done. Normally you sign in gold. Does everyone understand the colours of ink now? Yeah. Do we all know colour black is the debtor, blue will be the creditor, red is the living, purple is the sovereign, because that's the mixture of the blue and the red. and gold is the immortal signature. So if you sign in gold, it continues even after death. This is why you're supposed to sign in gold when you get married. It's supposed to be forever and ever, you know. But people just do it because it's cool and they don't understand it. So that's that. So that's that marriage. So that's how you do marriage. Hopefully that's cleared that up. Right. We can do liens later on, but do you want to learn about Sesta KV Trust and all this sort of stuff? All right. It's facilitation of credit. I might have to use the whiteboard, and I think I will. So we have a whiteboard. Hopefully everyone can see the whiteboard.
Can we bring it here?
Yes, can we bring it on? All right, Tom, that'd be great. If we bring the whiteboard up. This is mind-bending. Now, the good news is that the Sovereign Project team, we have created an animation of this system on our YouTube channel. All right, so if you don't get it all now, don't worry about it. It's a 22-minute animation on our YouTube channel. You can get onto our YouTube channel. It's at The Real Sovereign Project on YouTube. And you can watch it and do it a few times and get it in here. It is complicated, but once you've done it a few times, you'll understand it. Does everyone understand we do not use money? And money is a combination of two things. It's a person's labour and a commodity of value and intrinsic value like gold. That's money. Everything else is debt. So we use a debt-based system. We all understand promissory notes? Yeah? No? No promissory notes. Okay, touch on promissory notes. Promissory notes is a promise to pay. A lot of people are getting into promissory notes, getting into serious trouble because they're not understanding how it all works. There's two basic types of promissory note. One is done in the private, and you can do a promissory note with anyone you wish, and you can say to somebody, yes, I'll buy that car off you, but I promise to pay in the future. And say, I will pay you £1,000 in a month's time. That's a promissory note. You write it out, date it, sign it, and if that promissory note is only with one other person, then you'll put that person's name down, or you can put it down as the bearer of, and then that promissory note can be passed around. Okay? All your notes in your pocket today, Bank of England notes or Scottish notes or whatever you're using, they're all promissory notes. If you look on the note in very small writing, it will say, promise to pay the bearer the sum of. Alright, there's a signature on there, there'll be a date on there, there's some other symbolism. It's worthless. That promissory note is based on your credit. So, let me put this down a minute. Right, now, okay. Gets a bit complicated, so bear with me. So we understand the trust. So we understand the name, the surname, your baby was registered, it was placed into trust, okay? Now, the trust, how do they come up with a value? Because to set up a trust, you've got to have something of value to put into the trust, and then within that trust is what is called splitting of the title. So the title of the thing of value is split into different titles and given to different people, all right? Usually the equitable title will stay with the trust, or the value of it will stay with the trust, but then the user rights is given to the beneficiary. Alright, so the beneficiary, so you got a Lamborghini, you put it into trust, that's the thing of value called the res, that's the thing of value, and the user rights goes to the beneficiary, so he can drive around in the Lamborghini all day long, but he doesn't own it, the trust does, alright? So the church, and I might be using some simplistic language here, it's a lot more complicated than this, I'm just going to use layman terms, like church, Vatican, that sort of stuff. So the Church Vatican, they will create an estate for you at birth. So this is based on, they weigh you. We've all heard the term worth your weight in gold. Well, it comes from this trust. So they will weigh you, and say you're 7 pounds 2 ounces, that will be the gold value. And they'll put that in your trust. They'll also say, as you are man, you are entitled to at least 10 acres of land. They'll throw that in there, the monetary value. You are also equal share of all the mineral rights, all the oil, the coal, all everything else. They throw that in there. They'll throw other things in there, like your family's wealth. They'll say, because they'll look at you and say, because if you come from a rich family, you're going to go to a good school, and you're going to become a doctor or a lawyer, and your certificates are going to be worth a lot more. By the way, you know when you graduate from university, and you get a certificate, they securitise that, make money on it. Does everyone know what certificate means? Certificate means copy of from a higher authority. You don't want a certificate of anything. A true sovereign will say the only certificate that I can give out is mine. If someone gives me one, I'm under their authority, which means they can take it away. Alright? So that's what certificate means. So, they get all this, it's a theoretical value, it's all paper, it's only on paper. They stick that into trust, and it's worth at least $100 million for each of you. I use dollars because that is the global reserve currency, everything is dollar based, alright? People don't understand that, everything's dollars. So it's about $100 million when you're born, put into trust. That's your estate. So you've got $100 million, and we'll go 100 million, that's 100, 1, 2, 3, it's a lot of noughts. $100 million, and if it's a dollar sign with one line through it, that's fiat currency. If you've got two lines through it, that's true money, like a silver dollar. So they changed the notes. So a pound, there's a pound with two lines through it, and then a pound with one line through it. Two lines, the pound used to stand like a pound note, was a silver certificate, so a pound sterling, it was worth £1 of silver, that's that symbol. Changed it to this, that's the fiat currency. So now they're getting the value from your KV trust. Alright? So $100 million sitting there. I'm going to introduce you to the 3 basic jurisdictions, so you understand this. You might understand, you've seen the symbol, the pyramid, with the all-seeing eye. They're telling you. In layman's terms, the upper pyramid that is above the eye is your private dominion, which means they cannot see into it. They can't look into it, they can't touch it in any way, shape or form. The all-seeing eye can only look into the legal system, only by consent, because you consent, you allow them to spy on you. All right, we all know this with the iPhone and all the rest of it, you agree to be spied on. So, that is the first jurisdiction. Jurisdiction number 1 is your private jurisdiction. All right, that's the highest of the high. That's you, the living man. And as a man, as a sovereign, you would have your flag in there, and you'd have your coat of arms in there, and all this stuff, and boom, 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 boom. That's your private dominion, can't be touched by the all-seeing eye. You've got the all-seeing eye, which is here, okay, and it looks down upon the legal system. And there is 2 basic jurisdictions within the legal system, but there's multiple jurisdictions within it. I'm going to simplify it down. So below here is jurisdiction number 2. We're going to call this the national. Okay, and we've got jurisdiction down here, which is the lowest of the low scum. This is called public. Okay, so these are the 2 jurisdictions the all-seeing eye can see. This is the legal system in all of it. It's going to be in here, operating in here. National, these are where mega corporations, and by the way, these 2 jurisdictions are corporate only. Only. They only deal with legal titles and corporations. The living, breathing man does not operate in these jurisdictions at all in any way, shape or form. It is impossible to do so. You can't do it, because this is a 2-dimensional world we're living in. Okay? So, mega corporations like the World Bank, WEF, International Monetary Fund, all these are mega corporations, and they operate at the national level at level 2. Down here, you've got what is called the public, members of the public. Alright? Public means private. This means if you say that you are a member of the public, and by the way, they are literally telling you, they've asked you a question, are you a member of the public? Right? Member requires membership. Anything with ship on the end, maritime law, requires membership. Ownership, you see how it works, people don't understand ownership. So, members of the public is in fact a private jurisdiction, it's a PMA, and this is the jurisdiction of countries, or the UK corporation. So, in the UK corporation, we have, this is where police operate, and all sorts of stuff. Acts and statutes, police, all the stuff that people are caught in today, okay? Police, acts and statutes, all this junk, operate in a third jurisdiction. Now, there is what's called a central bank. We all understand the central bank. The UK's central bank is the Bank of England. They've got, and they're telling you, Bank of England, it's got nothing to do with England. United States of America, got nothing to do with America. So, you've got this, and the Bank of England straddles these two jurisdictions, okay? Now, national level. What happens is when you are born, I'm going to simplify this, a trust is set up at the national level. It's called a foreign situs trust. I'm going to do a little thing here. I'm going to just call it F, foreign situs trust. So foreign, because you are not part of a country. That's what it means, foreign. You are not operating in the jurisdiction of a corporate country. Foreign. Situs means tax, and trust. We all know what a trust is. So this foreign situs trust is set up at the jurisdiction number 2 at the national level, right? Your trust fund that was set up is placed into this as the res, the thing of value. So your trust fund is now worth $100 million, right? I'm going to cut out a few links to the chain just to save time. Watch the video, but it will go through in greater detail. What happens is, this is the Bank of England. Okay, Bank of England. And they have a connection with the UK corporation, which has use of the Cesta KV Trust, okay, which is operating down here. Cesta QV Trust. Now, the way this works, if you want to buy a house, for example, you would go to a mortgage company that operates at this level, the third jurisdiction. And by the way, this is where high street banks operate. They're for the paupers, the plebs. They don't deal in money. You're not allowed to use money. This is the third jurisdiction. Okay? You do not have access to the Bank of England. You can't go knocking on the Bank of England and go, "Hey, mush, I want to open an account here." They go, no, go away. You're type P on the passport. You're poor, you're plebeian, you're pauper, go away. You only have access to NatWest, Lloyds and all the rest of it. Monopoly money, okay, within this jurisdiction, okay? You're operating in a casino. You're using poker chips, and they only work in the UK. You can't take these poker chips and spend them in the United States of America casino, because they go, no, that's the wrong poker chips, okay? So, you want to buy a house. So there's a house. So you'll go along to Lloyds, for example, and ask for a mortgage. Okay, Lloyds. Now what you're actually doing, you don't realise this, but you're actually asking Lloyds to facilitate your credit, okay? To do this, 2 signatures are required, and there are 2 signatures on your mortgage certificate, even though you don't notice it. Because when you sit down with a mortgage advisor, she will get the pen out, which will be blue, because it's a creditor, using blue ink, and she will say, sign here, sign here, sign here, and those X's are the first set of signatures. You will then sign next to that signature. They've got 2 sets of signatures. You've acted as the executor of your foreign situs trust, and you've allowed Lloyds to gain access to your foreign situs trust fund. That's what you've done. It says, right, go and get me some credit, please. So Lloyds then goes to the Bank of England and it says, can we have some credit out of the Cesta KV Trust? The Bank of England will go, yes, no problem. It goes to your foreign situs trust, helps itself to £500,000, for example. It brings it back, but of course that is foreign credit, okay? They've got to turn it into pauper credit, or tokens in their casino, which is the Bank of England notes, right? So that's what they do, is they convert your credit into pound notes, right? Then in the olden days, there was an administrative charge, and they would place a stamp on the paperwork to do this, and it was called stamp duty. And today, you still pay stamp duty, and you've got no idea why you're doing it. But it's a percentage of the credit, and you pay a percentage of the credit, and that's what you're doing. So, this funny money, credit, is given to Lloyds. Lloyds gives it to you. You go off and buy your house, and you think you've taken out a loan. And then you end up taking 25 years to pay it back at interest. But what you're actually doing is you're paying Lloyds commission for facilitating your credit. Okay? This is the trap. This is the fraud. Okay? It's worse than that, because Lloyds will sell your mortgage contract or the mortgage debt. Have you heard of mortgage-backed securities? Yeah? Where do you think that comes from? So they will sell the debt, and it will be sold to you when you pay for your pension. So you are tricked into buying back your own mortgage debt, and you think that's going to be your pension in 50 years' time. All right? But it's worse than that, because they'll take out insurance as well. Does everyone know how insurance works? Does everyone know that you self-insure? Yeah? Oh, I'll explain it very quickly. If you want to insure your car, the way it works is you contact an insurance company. You don't actually buy insurance. You're asking them to facilitate credit again. And you're saying, I want to insure my Lamborghini. Please go and insure me. So what they do is, using this route, they'll take out some money, or they will create a bond. So let's draw a bond. We'll draw it here. A bond. And this bond will be worth around 4 million. So they will take out a bond of £4 million. They'll hold on to that for the 12 months you're driving your car. If you crash, they will use this bond to pay for all the damages and the administration of sorting it all out. It's worse than that. After 3 years, so 3 years, you have the right to claim this back. If you don't claim it back after 3 years, they can claim salvage rights on it. And they'll scoop that 4 million bond up that you didn't claim back. They'll sell it on the debt market. So every time you insure your car, you're making them £4 million a pop on each of your cars. And they've got the cheek to put your premiums up and not pay out. I mean, you say you have a bump and they're haggling over 400 quid. Go, no, we're not going to pay that. We're not paying that. You just made $4 million out of me, and you ain't going to pay out. So no, self-insure. So the mortgage company does the same thing. So the mortgage company will take out a bond, an insurance policy for the 500,000 that you've borrowed. If you don't pay them, if you stop making payments after 90 days, and you stop making payments, they claim on that anyway. So after 90 days, they've already sold your mortgage debt, it's long gone, okay? And they claim on that bond, so they're double, triple, quadruple dipping, all right? Now, as soon as you start understanding the system, you've got to understand this system so you can then understand the remedy to be able to facilitate your own credit. Because there is a way that you can short-circuit Lloyds and do this all on your own. So if you want a big house, $1 million, $2 million, you facilitate your own credit. If you want to insure your own car, you do it this way. All right? I'm not saying it's easy. I do not have all the pieces yet, but my team are working on it, and we're this close. I've got a lawyer friend of mine who is this close, and I've got another friend of mine who's actually just ordered a brand new X5, and he's going to test it out. So, and if it works. So, anyway, so you're going to begin to see the picture of how this credit system works, right? So, we understand the insurance, we understand the bonds, I covered that. Oh yeah, SESTA KV, right, SESTA KV. This is where the government comes into play. The government is a corporation, and it is not funded by tax. Not funded, all right? Tax does not directly pay for any services that they provide. All the services that they provide, and I'm using layman's terms here, keeping it simple, comes from the credit of your trust. Have you heard of the national debt? Yeah. It's what, 3 trillion? It goes up something like 5,300 pounds per second at the minute. Why do you think it's called national debt? National, corporation. The debt of the corporation. And it's who's on the hook for the debt? It's yes and no. The government is. They've tricked you into becoming the debtor, when in fact, you are the creditor. Because what the government is using is they're using your sister KV. Every time you get a speeding ticket, all the forms you fill out, they securitise, all this sort of stuff. Every time you vote, you're filling out the form. By the way, if you vote, you're giving up your right to vote. But we get into that at another time. They use all these forms that you fill out that you can't read. And what they're actually doing is they are taking money out of here and they are spending it like drunken sailors, okay? Spending it, giving it away to Ukraine, spending it on nonsense, and they're racking up this debt. This is a corporation that's doing this. They owe you this money. You are the creditors to the national debt. But they've tricked you into making you the debtor. All right? Now this is where the birth certificates come into play. So the national level, the Foreign Scientist Trust, this is your, this will be called, we're going to call it the Certificate of Live Birth. So Certificate of Live Birth, this is the creditor, this is where all the credit comes from. On the flip side, down here, you'll have what is called is your birth certificate. That's a corporation. It even says on it not to be used as a form of identification. And when I discovered that a long time ago, I go, hey, I thought it was my birth certificate and I can't use it to identify myself? What's going on? It's a corporation, it is the debtor. And then you are tricked into buying debt. Debt that is sold by the UK corporation or Scotland corporation. For example, utilities. Again, there's a lot of people waking up and saying, oh, gas and electric is free. No, it isn't. You've already paid for it. You are the creditors. Your credit already paid for the gas and electricity. Your credit paid for the electricity to be generated. And the government owes you that money back. They borrowed it from you. You're the creditor. You paid for the power station and all the cabling and all the rest of it and digging the roads up. No, you paid for all of that. And they've got a problem because this debt is mounting up and up and up. So what does the government do? They sell the debt. So the government sells this debt to credit brokers. What's a credit broker? Credit broker is an organisation that buys and sells debt. You'll find that your utility companies are in fact credit brokers. So what they do is they buy the debt from the government. They'll make about 8% commission, and then they'll sell it to you, and you will be tricked into thinking you're paying for gas and electric. So you know those meters that are clicking up? You are paying, those clicks equate to a unit of debt that you are buying. Okay, so when you see a politician on TV who says, oh, we're doing everything we can to lower your electricity bill, you lying sack, I don't like to swear, but you lying sack of shit. He's lying to you. Right? Because they're the ones who've artificially jacked the price up anyway. They're the ones who create this debt and they're selling it back to you. Okay, so this is why you actually have the right to take out those meters and put your own in and say, I'm not going to be the debtor. I have the right not to buy debt, but you have, even in their rules and regulations, okay, even in their rules and regulations, it says you have the right not to buy it. They can't force you to buy the debt, okay. So that's how utilities work. The UK will use Sister KV Trust through the Bank of England to get into your private foreign scientist trust, and that's how they fund themselves, and they will tax you to pay the interest on the national debt. That's what the tax is for. As long as they collect enough tax from you, they can keep this Ponzi scheme going, and they can build the debt higher and higher and higher and higher. But the problem they have is they've reached peak debt. That's why there's a reset coming, because they've tapped you out. They are tapping you right out because they're doing speeding tickets. It's insane. Everyone's getting fined for everything. You walk down the street in the wrong direction. Oh, fine, there you go. What? It's coming. It's insane, isn't it? Right? Because they are so desperate to keep this going. They've had to start monetizing the debt. Monetizing the debt means they can't collect enough tax to service the debt. So they're going to have to get more money out of your foreign scientist trust and use that to pay the debt. So they're even using your credit to pay the credit that they already owe you. This is a Ponzi scheme that's going to collapse. And I'll just throw this in. If you've got some gold and silver, well done. I think gold and silver are going to go absolutely ballistic. So, Sesta KV Trust is how it operates. Now, this is where a lot of people go wrong when they're doing promissory notes, because they have no clue that all of this is working, or they have a vague idea, and they're using promissory notes, and they're not filling out the correct paperwork, and they're not doing the right codes and all the rest of it. A lot of people say, how do I access my trust? Everyone wants to know that. I want to know that. I am very, very close to doing it. It's not easy. You need the correct set of codes. You need your EIN number. There's other codes as well you need your foreign situs of trust account number. There's other codes as well. There's two different types of promissory notes. I mentioned this earlier. A general promissory note is in contract law. Anyone can create that, not a problem. You cannot use those within the UK legal system. They don't operate, they don't work. Because the UK jurisdiction, they use their own promissory notes in their own casino based on this setup. And if you don't get that right, and you just issue promissory notes, it's going to be rejected because they're going to, I don't even recognise that. It's like sending a cheque in without telling them what account to get the credit from. It doesn't work, and that's why it's being rejected. So you have to instruct them to get the credit from that account. So the way it works, this is what we're working on behind the scenes. Let's say you want to buy a house. So instead of using a loan company, or Lloyd's for example, you don't do any of that. What you would do, you find a house, you go, yes, I want to buy it, and then you would actually contact the Bank of England with the correct paperwork, with everything correctly done, and you would instruct the Bank of England to create the credit, get the credit out of your foreign situs trust, pass it through the Bank of England, and then the Bank of England will make the payment to the estate agent, if you like, and then that pays for the house. In layman's terms, very simplistically put, and it's much more complicated than that. And I'll just finish on this before you can ask questions. If you're interested in this, learn the system. Start at the beginning. It might take you 18 months, it might take you 2 years, 3 years. Study it. It is worth it. Guarantee it. We got any questions on this?
What would you do if you first start at the beginning?
Starting at the beginning. If you know nothing, let's say this is where people are going wrong. They're landing in the middle of the system, right? They stumble upon something, UCC for example, and they have no idea about the rest of the system at all, okay? And they end up getting lost. Start at the beginning, as a newbie, learn about the different levels of law, learn how to protect your signature, learn the difference between lawful and legal, private and public, learn how courts operate at the basic level. All this information is on my website. Our workshops run a course for free and teach you this. If you can't get to a workshop, we've got an online course that will teach you this. You've got to study it. Think of it like I'm going to learn a degree, or I'm going to become a pilot. You can't just jump in a plane and fly off. You're going to have to study for a couple of years, and then you can fly. Start at the beginning, learn the basics. Some of the basics is like understand what authority is. You know, don't know the difference between lawful or legal. They don't even know what a police officer is. All of this stuff. And I'm saying, what, you're trying to use UCC and get your money back? No, you ain't going to win this game. So that's what I would say. Start at the beginning. Don't rush. Don't take on multiple challenges. Don't do everything all at once. Because I know a lot of people discover this and they go, right, that's it, not paying my electric, gas, nothing, council tax, no, not paying my mortgage, car can get stuffed. They end up in prison. Yeah, because you're not ready yet. Take on small little chunks, work your way up. Alright? Anything else? I've got a question?
Yeah. If you pay me a promissory note and they refuse it.
Okay. Right, let me cover that.
No, I'm not
Okay.
finished. Can you let me finish? They refuse it and they don't return the promissory note.
Yeah.
How does that go?
Right, okay. Now, it depends on the
No,
promissory.
if you pay for something,
Yes.
like the mortgage, if you pay a mortgage off
Yes.
and they say, no, we don't accept promissory notes.
Right.
If they don't return that promissory note, how does that go? How
Well, if
does
they still retain it,
Yeah.
that means they've accepted payment. Okay, and they can't refuse. If they refuse, then if they refuse payment,
You've just been refused.
yeah. Now, here's the thing: what type of promissory note did you use?
we had the number, we had the
Did you apply your foreign scientist trust account to it? No. So that's why they won't take it, because they don't recognise it.
Yeah, you would have done. You would have got your national insurance number.
Yeah.
National insurance number.
With the 15 years, 9 months thing, date in front of it. Yeah?
Yes. Now, okay, so we cover the national insurance. I think this is where a lot of people are going wrong. National insurance number is an account number for paying into the system, not getting money out of. Okay? So your national insurance number, and you're right about how you do the 15. In fact, we've got that, I think it's on the Sovereign Wiki. But there is a way, and I've done it, and you can take your national insurance number, you do a little bit of manipulation, it turns out being an account number, and I believe, I can't remember, I think it might be Lloyd's, and there's another bank as well, I think there's that was it.
And Barclays.
That's it, well done, thank you very much. I do try and remember everything, but no, it is. Citibank's an American bank, and Barclays. Now, if you follow that account down, you will find that it is not unable, you can't do direct debits on it, and you can't make payments on it, and there's some other restrictions. So what it is a payment in, okay? And unfortunately, it's operating down in. Okay? So you're operating in the third jurisdiction. What you're doing, the national insurance number, is the account number. In layman's terms, is the account number that you as the debtor are using to pay your tax to pay the national debt. So you can't access it, okay? You have to access this one. Foreign situs, yeah? Because you see the system, a lot of people think the system is like one layer, but it's multi-layered, yeah?
Certain parties are using this system to pay like the credit cards, and they're getting accepted.
Credit cards, slightly different. And of course, I do hear stories that people say, I've sent this off and it's worked. It's possible that the other side has accepted it. They go, oh, okay, then we don't know what we're doing, now we'll take it anyway. All I'm saying is the remedy isn't quite right if you're using your national insurance number as the account to take the funds out of, because it's a payment in only account. Yeah. So your national insurance isn't yours, by the way. It's down here and it's tied to the Cester KV Trust. You see, the thing with the Cester KV Trust, this one, the national insurance number, is for the UK corporation, not for America. They have social security number, different setup. Foreign Scientist Trust, global, national. Yeah. This doesn't change, no matter where you are, what country you're operating in. Okay, that's what people should be focusing on. Foreign Scientist Trust.
So can we now switch for the bottom?
What's that?
Can we switch for the national security? Your national insurance number to the foreign?
No.
We can't switch?
No, because it's their bank account. It's only operating down here in the third jurisdiction. Yeah? It's think of it in layman's terms. Let's say UK is a corporation and the national insurance number is with them and you're paying them. You can't take that number and put it, that doesn't make sense. It's like if I've got a bank at NatWest, can I take that account number and I'll give it to Lloyd's? No, it's got to stay with NatWest.
Yeah. Can I ask you another question?
Absolutely.
So we actually done it through Lloyd's, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now they didn't rebut it.
Yep.
There was nothing came back to us. We were asking them to return it.
149 days.
If they weren't going to accept it. And they kept it for 149 days.
Yes.
Before they said, no, we don't accept that.
Yes, and did you put a time limit on it?
We didn't put a time limit on it, no.
Right, okay. What you're going to do, we do this in the 22-week course. Every time you do any legal document, notices or whatever, always make it time sensitive. Every single document I ever send out, it will say the very first thing, time sensitive. And I'll put a time limit on it. And then I'll put a latch on there. So if I send a promissory note and send it to, which I haven't done, but if I do that, I will say, if I do not hear from you in 30 days, I'll take that as acceptance. Right? And if you don't hear from them, and they get back in 2 months' time, you say it's too late. You give you 30 days, you didn't get back to me, you lost. And now you can play the laws of commerce. And now you can go after them that way. Now, this is where the system gets complicated again, I'm afraid. There are multiple remedies that you can play. You can go either living man route, you can go the trust route, don't mix these up, or the most successful one is commerce. Let me explain what I mean. A lot of people are going wrong with challenging credit cards because they take out a credit card, they use credit card debt, and then they send documentation using purple ink and thumbprints and go, either living man. And I'm going, what the hell are you doing? You're blending two different jurisdictions together. The credit card company's not going to accept that. They're going to go, who are you? Because when you set up the credit card, you sign in black ink. You are the debtor, or representing the corporate debtor. So you can't blend all this. I see some notices, and they're throwing UCC in, constitutional stuff, Magna Carta stuff, it's like a tossed salad. And I'm going, what are you trying to do? You ain't going to win that game. So you've got to pick your line of action. If you're dealing with credit card companies, go down the commerce route, challenge the debt, challenge the contract, challenge all that sort of stuff. That is an easier way to do it, okay? Council tax is quite easy. Challenge the original contract, challenge the... do we understand how bills work? No? Okay. Council tax, I'll just touch on this dead quick, because Chris Coverdale is really the expert, but I'll just touch on this very, very quickly. If you receive a bill in the post for council tax, and you did not place an order, that bill is fraudulent, okay? So the way it works is you cannot be sent a bill unless you first place an order, or you've got a contract with them, all right? So you've got to have a contract with them. Now, having a contract with a business or corporation does not necessarily mean that you have to pay them. You can have a contract with a corporation and not pay them. But if they do send you a bill and you have a contract with them, then they should also provide the invoice. The invoice is proof of payment or request for payment for services rendered or goods supplied. Okay? So, if you get a bill in the post, council tax bill, you send another letter back to the council. By the way, you don't even recognise them as the council. Go, who are you? McDonald's, don't deal with you. First of all, you go, identify yourself, who are you? What's this letter doing? Don't even recognise it. What do you mean council tax? Never heard of it. What? This is new to me. Just received a bill out of the blue. Send it off, who are you? Identify yourself, what's your company number, what's your DUNS number, I want to see your incorporated certificate. And then you go down the route saying, right, I've given you 3 attempts to supply all this information, you failed to do so. This bill you're sending me, we're going to investigate it further. I now need to see the original contract and I need to see the invoice. You've got 30 days. You do that 3 more times. If you fail to do that, right, you failed on those 2 areas, you failed to identify yourself, you failed to give me the original contract and the invoice, therefore I've got no other alternative but to see you in court in 90 days. And then you go down the N1 claim form process and you sue the council. Boom. And this is how a lawyer does it. And he doesn't pay council tax anymore.
Would they not have more of a legal standing though if you've already paid it for years?
Well, you can always pay by mistake. So if you've paid it, by the way, just because you paid something does not mean proof of contract. And you can also say it was paid in error. And by the way, if you have been paying direct debit, you can claim all that back.
You're saying about the system.
Yep.
You go into the council tax and you charge it and they take money out your bank and you go into court and charge it. You're in their jurisdiction again, because we've got a corrupt sheriff.
Oh, what's that?
You're in their system again, challenging the exact same corporation.
Charging. Oh, challenging.
You say take them to court.
Yes.
You take them to court, you're in their system again.
You're playing their system, you're not in it. You've got to learn the difference.
Yeah, but you're still
I'm putting my silver hat on, right? Think of it as Monopoly, right? I am not in the system, I am using the system. I'm walking into their casino. I'm going to use their poker chips because I know how it's all played now. I'm going to sit down at the table and say, oh, we're playing council tax today, are we? Not a problem. Look, we've all said it here. We've all said it. Which says, don't apply the system to yourself, use it against them. Don't be in it. Don't be on the game board as a piece. Become the player. Looking down at the board, moving the pieces. I use the legal system all the time. That's how I sue people. I go after loads of people. I've been doing it for years. So I'm getting a typewriter out back in the day before we even had a computer. Right, that's it, I'm going after you, fella. I play the game. I know it's a casino. You just don't apply it to yourself. If we have time, we'll get into liens, titles, why you don't own anything, and why you can actually claim everything back. All right, hopefully that's answered your question. You got another question?
One question. Can you ask for the bill with VAT on it, or do you?
That's a good one. I like that one. Yeah, because they'll go, oh, well, yeah. Because you know you can tell a taxman and say, oh, council tax, you know. Yes, you could play that game if you want to.
Tax, don't pay tax.
yes. We got any other questions? Or I can hand it over to someone else because I want to take up the whole day because I want to listen to Chris Coverdale stuff.
You got a remedy for the getting your direct debit back for mortgages? Is there a remedy?
Yes, mortgages are a bit difficult, but I can go into that if you want. Now, does everyone know about Sovereign Wiki? No? Oh, God. Right. Here's what we're doing at the Sovereign Project, right? Does everyone know about our website, the sovereignproject.live? Please write that down, okay? Sovereignproject.live. What we are doing, we are a bunch of volunteers, there's at least 50 of us, we've got what? It's got to be 20,000 members now. What we are doing is we're giving away information for free on the website. So I've got my books over there, if you have a quick look. That information is free. There's how-to guides, how to do notices, it's on the website, you can download it. On that website, there is a button called Sovereign Wiki. It's a Wikipedia. Anyone can use it. It's a free resource that we've set up that all of you can use. And we've put on there a whole load of remedies for you. It's all laid out. There is a council tax remedy on there with templates, the whole thing. It's there for you. We have a DUNS number page. If you want to look up the DUNS number of your council, there's a page there for you. It's free. You look it up. Oh, fantastic, DUNS number. As soon as it, does everyone know about DUNS numbers? Yeah, no, yeah, I see some say, okay, no, right, okay, Dun and Bradstreet. Everything today is a corporation and it's a business corporation. Everything, including parliament, government, and countries. A country, it's not the land, it's a corporation. They all have DUNS numbers, Dun and Bradstreet. That's proof that they are a business corporation. And the beauty of this system is